Yuja Tenjo, our lovable, chubby protagonist, waddles home one day when he spots a girl getting harassed by some jerks. With all the valor of a marshmallow knight, Yuja jumps in to save her. Spoiler alert, the bullies rearrange this face. As the bullies hightail it at the sight of the cops, Yuja, now resembling a very sad Picasso painting, tells the girl he's fine and limps off. Despite looking like he went 10 rounds with a blender, he's oddly cheerful. Saving the girl was something his late grandpa would have approved of. Cue the sad flashback montage. Yuya's appearance has made him a target for bullies, and even his own parents, who adore his fitter siblings. Only Grandpa, the real MVP, cared for Yuya and left him everything after passing away. His parents, unable to convince him to give him the inheritance, they bailed on Yuya faster than the fathers who went to get milk from the store. Fast forward to middle school graduation. While everyone else is partying, Yuya's celebrating solo by running away from bullies. As they pummel him for sport, his classmates, including his charming siblings, watch with the enthusiasm of people streaming a viral fail video. After a particularly brutal day, Yuya's self-esteem is low. In his bathroom, he takes out his frustration on the mirror and walls. Surprise, the wall shifts, revealing a secret room. Intrigued, Yuya steps in and a screen pops up, informing him he's gained some skills and is now in another world. Yuya, bewildered, stares at the screen like it's speaking Klingon, but it kindly provides more info. Turns out, the place belonged to some wise old sage who kicked the bucket, and Yuya's now the proud new owner. Deciding to play fantasy hero, he grabs a sword and practices swinging it around. He gains new skills and weapons, feeling like a plus-sized model in 2024. Just then, a monster attacks the house, but gets bounced off a magical barrier. Mustering his courage, Yuya hurls a spear at it, leveling up and scoring some loot. He heads back to Earth, cashing in on his monster-slaying spoils. The next morning, Yuya wakes up to find he's transformed from the Pillsbury doughboy into a Greek god overnight. Bewildered but not complaining, he returns to the other world, finds some snazzy new clothes, waters some magical plants, and discovers a cure-all plant. He trains hard, levels up by clobbering more monsters, and gets ripped. Eventually, though, it's time to head back to school. Back at school, no one recognizes the new, improved Yuya. His former bullies approach him, puzzled by this hot stranger. Trembling like a leaf, Yuya admits he's their favorite punching bag, now in hunky form. They're floored. Meanwhile, his envious siblings resume their daily tradition of tormenting him. Suddenly, a car pulls up and out steps the girl Yuya previously saved. She recognizes him instantly, throwing the bullies for a loop and giving Yuya a much-needed win. The girl Yuya saved, Kaori Hojo, wants to thank him for rescuing her from those thugs. She asks if he's interested in attending Osei Academy, an elite school. Turns out, she's Kaori Hojo, and her dad, the chairman of the Osei Academy, insists Yuya should enroll as a thank you for saving his daughter. Yuya's siblings, eavesdropping like the nosy neighbors, jump in and ask if Kaori can enroll them instead because they think they're the superior siblings. Kaori, channeling her inner boss, shuts them down, saying she's indebted to Yuya and won't let anyone who insults him into the academy. She then whisks Yuya away to show him the school and convince him to enroll. At Osei Academy, Yuya meets Kaori's dad, Tsukasa Hojo, who welcomes him with open arms and encourages him to join the academy. Yuya, feeling as out of place as a cat in a dog show, hesitates. But Tsukasa and a teacher, Miss Sawada, assures him with the enthusiasm of motivational speakers that he should give it a try with a trial enrollment. Yuya waits outside Miss Sawada's classroom, feeling about as confident as a penguin at a dance-off. When he finally enters and introduces himself, the students stare at him, stunned by his newfound handsomeness. He's like a rare Pokemon. Suddenly, everyone wants to catch him. During lunch, Yuya's new classmates swarm him like he's the latest celebrity gossip. Bombarded with questions, he feels overwhelmed, a stark contrast to his bullied past. Just then, a student named Ryo Igarashi swoops in like a hero, rescuing Yuya from the curious mob and inviting him to the cafeteria. There, Yuya sits with Ryo and another classmate, Shingo Kurata. They chat, treating him like a friend, and Yuya finally starts to feel at ease. After school, Tsukasa asks Yuya what he thinks of the academy. Yuya gushes about the differences from his old school, marveling at how the students treat him like a human being and an equal. Tsukasa senses Yuya's hesitations and reassures him that he is indeed worthy of attending the academy. The next day, Yuya returns to the other world, slaying more monsters. He notices he's leveling up slower than before and realizes he needs to venture beyond the safety of the fence into the forest for tougher monsters. In the forest, he stumbles upon some corpses and spots a monster about to attack a girl. Yuya distracts the monster, and though he's initially careless, he ultimately manages to kill it, leveling up once again. While prepping his school uniform, Yuya recalls the princess he saved from the monster. He wonders how she's doing, but then remembers she had people to help her and decides she's probably fine. With that off his mind, he heads out to buy some new clothes. At the shopping mall, Yuya tries to blend in and avoid the stares while picking out clothes. Suddenly, a guy named Hikaru approaches him, practically begging Yuya to play the boyfriend in a photo shoot. Turns out the original model is too hungover to function. Yuya, confused but intrigued, agrees. He strikes poses with Miu, the female model, as curious onlookers gather to watch. Meanwhile, in another world, Lexia, the princess Yuya saved, wakes up with a mission. Find her knight in shining armor. She tells her guard they're heading back to the forest to track him down. Back at the mall, Yuya and Miu take a break and bond over their childhood struggles. Just then, Sho, the tardy male model, waltzes in like he owns the place, completely unapologetic for being late. The crowd that's been watching Yuya and Miu's photo shoot goes wild when Sho makes his grand appearance. He corners Miu against the wall, asking her out for dinner after the shoot in a way that's more creepy than charming. Miu looks uncomfortable and tries to refuse, but Sho keeps pressing. Yuya steps in and tells Sho to back off. Sho, thinking he's the alpha here, swings at Yuya, but Yuya stops him effortlessly and throws him to the ground. The crowd erupts in cheers, and a humiliated Sho slinks away with his tail between his legs. It's like they're all thinking, yeah, that's what happens when you try to pick up a girl with a bad case of narcissism. Hikaru, impressed, asks Yuya if he'd like to do more photo shoots and sign an exclusive contract. Yuya, modest as ever, declines, saying he's not good enough for the job. Hikaru, grateful for Yuya's help, gives them some clothes as a thank you. In the other world, Lexia and her guards are ambushed by monsters. They struggle to fend off the attackers until Yuya arrives, slicing through the monsters like a hot knife through butter. Lexia and her guards are in awe as Yuya uses an all-cure herb to heal the injured soldiers. Lexia, in true dramatic fashion, abruptly asks him to marry her. Yuya brings Lexia and her guards to his house. The squad leader, Owen, marvels at Yuya's home, noting its location in the darkest regions. After introductions, Owen reveals he's the captain of the Knights of the Arcelia Kingdom, and Lexia drops the bomb that she's the first princess. Yuya, worried he's in trouble, is assured by Owen that he's not. Yuya introduces himself, and Lexia, undeterred by his polite rejection, vows to keep trying to win his heart, interpreting his refusal as a challenge. Owen informs Yuya that the king wants to personally thank him and invites him to the royal palace. Yuya asks for some time before he can go, and they agree. Meanwhile, a masked man scolds another for failing to kill Lexia. The kneeling man offers excuses, but the masked man, revealing a heavily scarred face, dismisses him in anger. It's Yuya's first day at Osei Academy, and he feels like a zoo exhibit as people stare at him on his way out. At school, he watches his classmates play soccer, sitting on the sideline since he doesn't have his gym wear. Kaede Kazama joins him. And when a soccer ball flies towards them, Yuya performs an epic kick, scoring a goal and stunning everyone. Concerned only for Kaede, he asks if she's okay, brushing off the amazement. Chaos erupts as the Red Ogre's gang invades Osei Academy, targeting Kaori under orders from Yuya's jealous siblings. Watching from his classroom, Yuya struggles with self-doubt, but eventually musters the courage to leap out the window to save Kaori. Yuya single-handedly takes down all the gang members. Their leader, furious, attempts to hit Yuya with his bike, but Yuya dodges, causing the leader to crash into a building. The police arrive and arrest the gang. As the gang leader tries to kill Yoda, one of Yuya's brothers, for dragging them into this mess, Yuya saves him. Shocked by Yuya's protective actions despite their past cruelty, his siblings kneel and apologize, realizing the errors of their ways. Yuya, gearing up for another adventure in the other world, ponders Owen's comments about him living in the darkest regions. He's puzzled why the sage chose to live in such a dangerous place, especially since the monsters there, which he now defeats with ease, are supposed to be incredibly powerful. Calling it a day after slaying numerous monsters, Yuya heads back home. On the way, he hears a cry and discovers a massive monster attacking a black Fenrir puppy. Initially, he decides to avoid the fight, doubting his strength. However, when the monster starts stomping on the puppy, Yuya changes his mind, and to his surprise, defeats the monster easily. Finding the Fenrir's parents dead, Yuya adopts the puppy and names it Night. This act of kindness grants him more skills. He takes Night back to his house on Earth and checks his level, only to find it hasn't increased despite defeating a stronger monster. After school, Yuya and Kaede visit a pet shop to buy supplies for Night. When he gets home, Night greets him enthusiastically, and Yuya shows him the new goodies. They go for a walk, drawing positive attention from passersby. During their walk, they bump into Kaori and Miu. Miu eventually leaves as the growing crowd starts to bother her. While chatting with Kaori, an old woman shouts that a purse snatcher has taken her bag. Night, proving his worth, chases down the thief and drags him back to the woman. Kaori calls the police, and when the thief tries to attack her with a knife, Yuya intervenes, stopping him cold. The crowd erupts in cheers for their new local hero. Yuya and Night return to the other world and take down several monsters. They encounter a crystal deer that uses both fire and water magic. Working together, they defeat the deer and receive a drop item that can transform into a hot bath, a perfect reward for their efforts. Yuya discovers that the Book of the Sage was written by the very sage who once owned the house he's staying in. The sage chronicles his mastery of everything, from magic to martial arts and fencing. Noting that he even entered the realm of the gods invited him to join them, but he declined. Addressing Yuya directly, the sage warns that Yuya's immense power will likely make humans fear him, just as they feared the sage. Yuya continues reading, finding advice from the sage about not ending up alone like him. The sage encourages Yuya to build trustworthy human relationships. Then, the sage asks Yuya to make a wish, and Yuya wishes for magic. The sage fills the book with his knowledge of magical theory, and transfers his magical pathway to Yuya. Returning home with Night, Yuya delves deeper into the book, learning about magic. He practices and successfully uses water magic, discovering that Night can also use magic. Meanwhile, Lexia and her guard return to the palace. Owen reports to the king about Yuya and accidentally reveals that Lexia proposed to Yuya. The king, infuriated, rampages through the throne room. At Osei Academy, Yuya remembers the sage's warning to be cautious with his magic. Miss Suwada announces an upcoming off-campus study trip where students will camp for 2 nights. Yuya is grouped with Kaede, Akira, and Rin Kanzaki. The group shares their enthusiasm about working together. Kaori meets Yuya and his friends at a shopping mall to help him select a suitable rucksack for camping. After buying the bag, they head to the arcade. Yuya impresses everyone with his crane game skills, winning numerous prizes for his friends. The girls go to shop on the 13th floor, while the boys head to a cafe. Suddenly, a fire breaks out, trapping the girls upstairs. Yuya tells the others to evacuate and rushes to rescue the girls. Using magic, Yuya envelops himself in water and charges through the fire. He finds the unconscious girls and, using his strength, punches a hole from the 13th floor to the ground floor to escape. Although he saves the girls, a firefighter scolds him for risking his life. A girl with a dark aura confronts a talking rabbit. The rabbit asks why she is attacking him, and she declares her intention to destroy the world, insisting that he will help her. As she leaves, the rabbit realizes he must find someone to train and pass on his techniques as the deity of kicks. Yuya, recalling the sage's teachings, experiments with teleportation magic and successfully transports himself and Knight into the forest. After defeating numerous monsters, Yuya suggests they head back, but Knight bolts off. When Yuya catches up, Knight signals him to hide. Yuya watches as a girl battles goblins with a thread-like substance. When she gets hit and falls unconscious, Yuya breaks free from Knight's hold and rushes to help, killing the goblins and carrying the unconscious girl. Yuya considers taking the girl to his house, but Knight disapproves. As Yuya ponders his next move, the girl wakes up, jumps out of his arms, and after he heals her wounds, she introduces herself as Luna. She explains she was training in the forest when the goblins attacked her. While Luna bathes, Yuya talks to her from outside the veil, helping her relax. She expresses a desire to train with him, and he agrees, knowing he would worry if she trained alone. They train together, becoming stronger as they slay monsters. The first-year students of Osei Academy head to the off-campus trip site. Yuya dominates the bus games. Upon arrival, Miss Sawada explains the trip's nature. Students must forage for food from the forest and river. Yuya asks about rewards, and Miss Sawada bemuses the students by saying their hard work will affect their teachers' bonus assessments. Students will camp outside while teachers stay in the building. Yuya and his team decide he and Kaede will fish, while Rin and Akira gather mushrooms and vegetables. Finding the riverbank crowded, Yuya suggests they move to another spot. There, he impresses onlookers by catching many fish with his hands. In an old building, Luna uses her threads to decapitate statues. Reflecting on her past as an assassin, covered in the blood of her victims, she thinks about Yuya and wonders how different her life might have been if she had met him sooner. However, she resigns herself to her fate as a member of the Dark Guild, known as the Headhunter. Rin and Akira show Yuya and Kaede the vegetables they've collected. Yuya uses his magic to inspect and remove the poisonous ones. Miss Sawada commends them for being the first team with all edible produce. When she asks who will cook, they all point to Yuya. She implores him to make a delicious meal to help her earn her bonus. Yuya prepares a delicious meal from the fish and vegetables they gathered, as they all settle down to eat. Miss Sawada passes by and joins them. They all commend him for preparing a super delicious meal, and Miss Sawada even asks him if he is interested in marrying her. Wow, even the MILF wants a piece. Yuya uses teleportation magic to return home, where Knight awaits him. He prepares a meal for Knight and reflects on how his friends and teacher enjoyed his cooking, realizing he loves making people happy. The next morning, Yuya and his teammates find their instruments destroyed. Akira feels disheartened, but Rin encourages them to gather food. While collecting plants, Akira spots a bear decoy mark. Suddenly, a large bear appears, chasing them back to the campsite, causing chaos. It almost attacks Miss Sawada, but Yuya uses his strength to stop and slam the bear, rendering it unconscious. Yuya and Knight encounter a group of monsters in the forest. They work together to defeat them, unaware that a rabbit is watching. The rabbit observes Yuya's fighting and decides Yuya is the one to whom it will pass on its techniques. Later, Yuya and Knight meet Lexia and her guards, who have come to escort him to the palace. As they prepare to leave, Knight senses an attack and pushes Lexia out of harm's way. Yuya follows the attacker and knocks her unconscious, discovering it's Luna. Lexia follows Yuya and learns that Luna was the attacker, and that Yuya knows her. Yuya apologizes to Lexia and requests time to treat Luna's injuries at his house. Expressing his belief that Luna is not inherently bad, he wants to speak with her one last time. Lexia agrees, and despite Owen and the guards' protests, she decides to accompany Yuya to his house, leaving them stunned. Yuya explains how he got to know Luna to Lexia. She then asks him about the magic he used in transporting them to the house. She heavily berates him for being careless in using a magic that only exists in fairy tales. She then asks Luna how long she wants to continue pretending to be asleep. Lexia demands an explanation from Luna, who initially refuses, expecting to be killed soon. Yuya also asks Luna to share her story. Luna recounts her life as an orphan and thief until a man took her in and trained her in many skills, primarily assassination techniques. She eventually joined the Dark Guild and became known as the Headhunter. Luna reveals that she was tasked with killing Lexia, but failed. She anticipates being killed either by Lexia's guards or by the Dark Guild. Yuya, showing her concern, tells Luna he considers her a friend and urges her to stop speaking so bleakly. In a surprising twist, Lexia tells Luna that she must become her personal guard. Luna argues that she should be killed due to her criminal past, but Lexia dismisses her concerns as trivial and insists on her new role since Luna couldn't kill her. Lexia and Luna share a bath in Yuya's hot spring. Lexia asks Luna if she has feelings for Yuya, which Luna awkwardly denies. Lexia then declares her intention to marry Yuya, prompting Luna to admit her own feelings and assert that she won't let Lexia marry him. They both declare a friendly rivalry, agreeing that the winner will be the one who marries Yuya. Maybe one day you watching will have a similar experience. Bring in the comments, I already have. Yeah. Anyways, Owen and the guards are frantically searching the forest for Lexia while avoiding the monsters. Yuya returns with Lexia and Luna, relieving Owen. Lexia reveals that Luna was the assassin, but is now her personal guard. The guards initially threaten Luna, but Lexia and Yuya manage to convince them of her good intentions. Owen agrees to give Luna a chance. Yuya and Knight discover a river in the forest, and they decide to have a bath. After bathing for a while, Yuya notices a mojo, a pig-like animal in the water with them, and he realizes that he has tamed the mojo, and names it Akatsuki. At Osei Academy, Miss Sawada tells her student about the ball game competition. The students are split into two groups to play soccer in preparation for the competition. Yuya is the keeper in his team, and he not only manages to catch an insane shot, but he also throws the ball so hard he scores a goal. Yuya's friends are walking him home when Muse fashion magazine director spots him and extends an invitation to join the entertainment industry. Yuya shocks everyone by flat out refusing the invite. Shingo tries to sell him on the perks of showbiz, but Yuya stays firm. Miu steps in to shield Yuya from further pestering. Meanwhile, Kaori shows up with flyers for a ball competition. Catching the director's eye and prompting her to snap some pics of Yuya in action. Yuya, Knight, and Akatsuki find themselves in another world battling ghostly monsters. Yuya realizes he needs to up his game in blending magic and physical attacks when they encounter a mithril boar. After getting whacked around by the boar, Yuya's saved by a rabbit that not only defeats the boar, but also clears some trees with ease. The rabbit demands a display of kicks from Yuya, Knight, and Akatsuki. Impressed, it shows off its own skills by kicking through 5 trees. Yuya gives it a shot, managing to knock down a tree. Then the rabbit suggests a spar, leaving Yuya struggling to keep up. After a grueling session, Yuya learns he's being groomed as the rabbit's successor. The rabbit reveals it's one of the Divine, tasked with training successors to fend off the vile, nasty beings fueled by malice. Yuya reluctantly agrees to train, facing off against another mithril boar and leveling up in the process. During a sports competition, Yuya unintentionally wrecks the ping pong table and volleyball court, forcing his opponent to back out. Feeling guilty, he seeks solace with Ren and Kaide, but soon, Kaori recruits him as her table tennis partner, and Yuya swoops in to protect her from any aggressive shots, securing the win. In a rematch with the Divine Rabbit, Yuya's Dark Aura adversary is stunned by his newfound magic prowess, prompting her to target him first for elimination. Kaori's over at Yuya's place, cramming for their upcoming test. Mid-study, nature calls and she stumbles upon the gateway to the other world. Yuya catches her on the brink and, recalling the sage advice on nurturing trust, spills the beans about his secret realm. He even gives her a tour and she pledges to keep mum about it. In Arcelia's capital, Lexia introduces Luna to her dad. Luna drops the bombshell that she once tried offing Lexia. Dad's not pleased and goes for the execution, but Luna pulls a thread maneuver, halting the chop. Lexia intervenes, threatening to disown her father if Luna bites the dust. Dad backs down, begrudgingly accepting Luna as Lexia's bodyguard. Then, Owen blurts out that Lexia and Luna crashed the Yuya's pad, sending Dad into a frenzy over Yuya's supposed impropriety with his daughter. Me if I was a father. Rhaegar catches wind of the failed hit on his sis, Lexia. He fast-tracks his regicidal scheme, handing a minion a magic zapping barrier with instructions to off the king. Osei Academy on holiday, Yuya finally takes the royal field trip. Along the way, he slays some monsters, hits up a bustling town showcasing a melting pot of races, sells some Japanese pepper at the merchant guild, then rolls up to the palace. Yuya's face to face with the king, who's losing his marbles over Yuya's alleged seduction of his daughter. An off with his head type moment. Yuya, in a move that's anything but diplomatic, offers Lexia a betting set as a gift. Oh nah. Comment what you're doing with him if you're the father. A betting set is crazy. As the king's about to go full berserk, Rhaegar's goons crash the party with a magic damping barrier. No sweat for Yuya though, he takes him down easily. Lexia schools her dad on his tantrum, reminding him of Yuya's heroics. Owen spots Rhaegar's insignia on one of the attackers, sealing the deal on his involvement. Owen then pops the big question to Yuya. Will he lend a hand in saving the Arcelia kingdom? Yuya hears the palace buzzing about Rhaegar's failed assassination attempt on his dad and sister. Remembering his promise to protect Lexia, he heads over to her room. Lexia steps out and suggests a tour of the capital. After a bit of back and forth, they decide that Yuya, Lexia, Luna, and Owen will go together. Lexia and Luna give Yuya the grand tour of the capital, with Owen keeping a watchful eye from a distance. They arrive at an adventurers guild, and Luna notices Yuya's curiosity. They both decide to register. They're asked to place their hands on a crystal to measure their magic. The crystal glows yellow for Luna, indicating limited magic. When Yuya touches it, the crystal shatters, attracting attention and sparking curiosity among the guild members. After receiving their guild cards, the attendant, Amelia, explains that they'll start at the lowest rank and must be careful not to overharvest plants to allow for regrowth. While Yuya and the ladies are out on an herb gathering quest, Owen discovers Rhaegar's hiding place and enlists Yuya's help to apprehend the traitorous prince. They arrive at Rhaegar's hideout, and Yuya wonders why he's holed up in such a remote area. As they enter, Rhaegar holds a knife at one of the guards, prompting Yuya to command the knight to sneak in and attack. Seeing no escape, Rhaegar attempts self-deletion, but Yuya stops him and Rhaegar is strained. Just as they're about to leave with Rhaegar, a girl with a dark aura bursts in. She reveals she duped Rhaegar into thinking she wanted him as king, when her real plan was to use him to incite a genocidal war. She attacks, trying to kill everyone present, but Yuya deflects her assaults with his magic. Realizing Yuya is the one she's been searching for, she retreats, low on energy, but vows to return for a rematch. Lexia is shocked to hear that someone might be stronger than Yuya and shares this with Luna. Luna reassures her that the important thing is that Lexia is safe. Meanwhile, Yuya broods in a corner, haunted by how the girl vanished into her dark aura. Owen arrives and informs Yuya that they need to discuss Rhaegar's punishment, and Yuya agrees to join them in the throne room. As the guards drag Rhaegar into the throne room, his mask falls off and his clothes tear, revealing a body covered in scars. Yuya and Luna are shocked, but the king and Lexia can't bear to look. Rhaegar reminds Lexia that his scars are from when he lost control of his magic, driven mad by her magical energy, which filled him with a destructive urge. Moved by Rhaegar's story of being driven to madness in isolation by Lexia's magic, Yuya sympathizes with his loneliness. He gives Rhaegar a cure-all herb drink, instantly healing his scars. Lexia, unable to hate her brother, forces their father to pardon him for his crimes against her. However, as punishment, Rhaegar's estates are confiscated and given to Yuya. Yuya is so preoccupied with the girl with the dark aura that he neglects his friends at school and rushes home to train for their next confrontation. Meanwhile, Kaori goes to Yuya's house looking for him, inadvertently entering the world and venturing into the forest beyond the safe barrier in search for him. During a fierce battle with the girl, Yuya impresses her with his skills. She declares she must kill him, and as Yuya dodges her attacks, he spots Kaori and is shocked to see her there. Fortunately, she stays at a safe distance. The divine rabbit, Usagi, arrives just in time to deflect an attack. He calls the girl Yuti and pleads with her to stop, reminding her that her late master was the divine protector of humanity, even though they killed him. Yuti refuses to relent, unleashing the power of the vial, but Akatsuki neutralizes her, and Usagi leaves her in Yuya's care. Despite everything she has seen and heard, Kaori assures Yuya that she still trusts him, saying he hasn't changed since the day they met. In the ending credits, Kaori befriends Lexi and Luna. Yuya's siblings visit him to mend the relationship, and Yuti moves to Earth and enrolls at Osei Academy. All's well that ends well. There is only one season for now, but we'll update if another season comes out. Thank you for watching.